everyone, welcome back to another episode of Let's Talk Supercars. This is the VAILO Adelaide 500 weekend preview, the last preview of the season. And I'm Daniel, and I'm welcome once again with my co-host Alex. Alex, welcome. How you going?
Yeah, good. It's a long night. Unfortunately, this is the second take because I forgot to record my audio. But we're getting better, ish. That was wasted 45 minutes, but it's fine.
We did some practice.
Basically, practice.
We recorded this episode, but may or may not have had some audio. But that's okay. We'll just redo it. So we know what we're talking about though now. So that's good.
Yeah, exactly.
But before we get into the weekend preview, whatnot, let's run over the news that's happened since the Gold Coast 500. The 24 calendar has been revealed. It's rather disappointing. It's still got the 12 rounds similar to this year. Phillip Island, Wington, and Queensland Raceway are once again not on the calendar, as well as the Bend this time around.
Yeah, a little bit different. I don't really know what to say about it. Obviously we've got those 4 tracks that are still not, well, now, the Bend got kicked out, but the other 3 aren't in the year anymore. But the only difference that has happened is we've got a new track.
Yeah, that's right. New Zealand's making a return. Supercars will be going to the Taupo International Circuit in late April or mid-April, which will be pretty cool. But in saying that, Tasmania has also been shifted from the beginning of the year to just in time, just before the Enduros, which is probably the coldest time to do so, which was a bit of a silly choice in my opinion. But and because of that, the Bend isn't also on the calendar. Instead, they'll be doing a Enduro event next year. 2025.
The year after. Yeah.
I
don't know how I feel about that. The track's really boring usually on a normal sprint weekend, so...
I mean, this year it was kind of just follow the leader, so... but in saying that, the hard tyres might, because...
yeah, they were making a return next year.
That's right. From round 2 onwards, hard tyres will be used. So hopefully we get some better action, especially for those longer races, especially Bathurst, after the rather not so interesting race this year.
Yeah, well, let's quickly go through it because round 1 is the Bathurst 500, which is the link with the Motorsport Festival, which I think is really cool.
Yeah.
Obviously, it wasn't the plan A that they had, Newcastle not being on the calendar.
Yeah.
Go through the calendar.
All right. Got to get it
up. I'll do it then. Very professional.
Very.
Bathurst 500 to begin the year. It starts actually in February, which is really cool.
Yeah, late February too.
Less time to wait, actually. It's almost 3 months bang on, actually, which is really good. Then we have the Grand Prix, where the supercars won't have any pit stops because they've been kicked out of the pit lane. Then we go to New Zealand for the... how do you pronounce it? Is it Taupo?
Taupo, I think. Could be wrong.
We're not really sure, but that's new, and that'll be happening in April. Then Perth Super Sprint. It's not Super Night anymore. Well, we don't think so. Even though that's a bit disappointing because I actually really enjoyed that round. And it works for us being on the other side of the country, time-wise. Darwin is in June. Hidden Valley once again, and Townsville like normal. July and October are the only months that have 2 rounds in it. So July has Townsville and Sydney Super Night, so Sydney Motorsport Park. Not once again follow the leader. August we'll have the Super Sprint in Tasmania, like we mentioned, where it will be really, really cold.
It will also be a timed race. There'll be 2 60-minute races closed from the laps, and I don't know how that's going to go. I personally not a fan, but there still might be some action. I guess we'll have to wait and see. But I got mixed feelings about it.
It'll be a bit different. We'll see how that goes. Then we start the Enduros, which is the same as it was this year, just the Sandown 500 and Bathurst 1000. Unfortunately, not a 3 event enduro season, which personally I miss because I
And
loved the race at Gold Coast.
and for all your free to air viewers, Sandown misses out once again, which is
Oh, you're kidding.
really disappointing given how the fact that it's an enduro. It's another year of disappointment, unfortunately, and yeah, and you keep going. Sorry, I interrupt. I had to mention that
No, that's fine.
disappointing news.
And yeah, we finished the season exactly how it is now with Gold Coast 500 and Adelaide 500, which is a little bit earlier next year. So like last year when we had the grand finale, it was the first week of December.
Mm.
Now it's the last week of November, and then it's mid-November next year. So unfortunately, the season's just getting shorter and shorter. But yeah, we'll see what happens. But it's not a bad calendar. It's just the same, really.
It's just disappointing, really.
It's just disappointing how there's a lack of events. That's it.
Yeah,
And one race a month, really,
yeah. I had a
is
look. Super
kind of
2,
pathetic.
they're very similar this year. They've got one race at Bathurst 500, and then they've got the Perth race. But then there's a solid 3 months where they're not racing at all until Sandown.
Well, they're not going to Townsville.
I don't think so, but
Wow.
bit ridiculous.
Have they got 6 rounds or 6 races?
6 rounds.
So where are they racing at?
Uh,
You don't know.
yeah. So they're Super 2 will be racing. Oh no, sorry, I take that back. They are actually Townsville.
I was going to say, they
thank
can't
God.
race for no, for nothing. That was ridiculous.
I was actually
But
worried. But
yeah.
yeah, they're racing at Bathurst, then they're racing at Perth, Townsville, and then they don't race again till Sandown, and then Bathurst, and then Adelaide.
I think their biggest break is actually from rounds 1 to 2, February 25 to May. And so they don't race in March or April. That's the biggest gap.
And Supercars do one race a month, pretty much this next year, which is extremely disappointing. Which also means we're going to have to work out what content we're going to be making. But Formula 1 will pretty much be covering that for us anyway. But
Formula 1 keeps extending the season.
That's where all the supercar races are going. But also next news, we've got a live pit order happening next year, which would be rather interesting. I'm not particularly a huge fan of that, but it does work in favour for Blanchard Racing, who'll be running 2 cars next year. They'll be given a chance to move up the grid next year. Super license, because that's gone now, some new rules have been set in place. So if you want to join Supercars, you need to meet at least one of these 3 criterias. Minimum, you have to compete in a minimum of 3 supercar rounds in the past 5 years, or a minimum of 6 Super 2 rounds within the past 3 years, or the minimum of 3 Super 2 and 3 Super 3 or Porsche rounds in the past 3 years. Plus, you also have to hold a FIA International Grade C license, which is basic these days, and you have to at least be 17 years or older. But I'm glad they got rid of that super license stuff, because all that stuff that happened to Nathan Hearn back in the GRM wildcard for Bathurst that time.
Yeah, that was messy.
That was really messy. So I'm glad they just ditched that. They ditched that mid this year, I think. So that the way they've done that now is much better. And some other news that happened yesterday, actually. Tim Edwards yesterday. Tim Edwards is replacing Adrian Burgess as GM of Motorsports for Supercars next year. Of course, Adrian's been in that role since 2018, after he left Walkinshaw. He's basically been responsible for the development, or to watch over the development of Gen 3. So he'll be leaving once the wind tunnel testing is finished in December.
Yeah, which Tim Edwards will be attending.
So much for that holiday.
Yeah, so much for retiring. He's got into a role that's probably even more bigger than the one he had.
But at least he's
He's a hard worker.
Yeah, but I reckon he can do it good. He's right for the role.
Yeah, well, he's probably been a bit angry over the last couple of years, so maybe he'll make it
That's it.
a bit even.
He'll be looking forward to having some control over that, I reckon.
That's a good point. I think that's probably why he's doing it, to be honest.
Yeah, that's it.
Good on him.
He's actually above the rule book now.
Yeah.
In saying that, there hasn't been a CEO confirmed just yet for Tickford, but it'll probably happen later after Christmas or some. And now some driver news. We've got one of the greatest drivers of all time leaving the supercar grid next year. Jack Smith.
Not Shane Van Gisbergen.
No. That's the announcement. You just ruined it. Shane Van Gisbergen is replacing Jack Smith at BJR.
No, that's false news.
No.
We don't do false news.
My camera's gone because someone's calling me.
There we go. Camera's gone.
That's it.
Hang up on him.
I did. I'm coming back. I'm coming back. I am.
Technical difficulty. There we go. We're back. We've ruined the announcement that I wanted to do because Jack Smith finally is out of Supercars.
He is.
He's no longer going to be rolling at the back every week. We're going to have some competitive drivers, I hope, and we're going to list who we think will go in there. But I'm just very happy that's they're going to give the seat. And credit to Jack Smith. He stepped down. He actually didn't get fired. He stepped down.
Stop calling me.
Who keeps calling you?
My cousin. Okay, you keep talking about that. You talk about...
This has been a disaster night. Anyway, we're not professional at all. Yeah, Jack Smith, he's finally gone. And, we're all happy. And, let's look forward to who could be replacing him now that Daniel's still not here. Let's... I'll give you the rundown of who...
I dropped my camera! This is going very well. There we go.
No audio from me, dropping the camera from you. What the hell is going on tonight?
We're okay. We're good. We're good now.
This is what happens when we have a week off. But possible replacements for Jack Smith. They're all better. Zach Best is our go-to option, we think. There is an option that Jordan Boyd could be there, and I'd like to potentially throw in Kai Allen's name in.
That's a good one.
But that was an order of who we think is going to go in.
I reckon out of those three, Zach Best is the one. He has been poised for it.
He's proved himself more than the other ones.
And Jordan does have that link with BJR. And he is actually racing this weekend because Jack has stepped down this weekend.
Jack Perkins.
So Jordan's will be taking his seat this weekend. But I reckon Zach, he's proven it this year and the year before.
Wait, hang on. Is Jack Smith stepping down from this weekend?
No, Jack Perkins. Sorry, I forgot there's two.
I was going to say, you said Jack Smith.
I forgot there's two Jacks. Sorry.
Yeah, no, okay, cool. So he's in Super 2.
Good one.
Yes.
Good one stepping down.
Yeah.
So I reckon, Zach deserves it. He should have deserved it this year, actually, but Declan beat him to that after winning the title, which was fair enough.
Yeah.
He did win it. So
Zach Best's got a cool story. He almost got kicked out of Super 2, got the last possible spot, and is hopefully going to win the championship this weekend.
And he deserves it.
And he's proved itself last year when he qualified pole in a stealth black car.
Yeah.
At Tailend Bend. That was amazing.
That was cool. I loved that.
That was really cool.
And he did really well.
Amazing story.
He did well this year driving with Courtney too. So.
Yep. Yeah. Did amazing.
But now moving on to some minor news. We've got a couple new liveries. Todd Hazelwood will be running a red Arc livery, which is an Australian electrical company, which is cool, for his final one. Macaulay Jones has a really cool livery. BGR have organised a fan design sort of thing where where the 10-year-old Grace Lewis has handmade the livery for this year and for this weekend, and the team have replicated it beautifully.
Yeah, it's hand-drawn Pizza Hut logos with some pizzas on it. My favourite touch is the red outline of the door window. Oh, it's perfect. I can't believe how... If you see the pictures from what Grace drew versus the actual car itself, it's pretty cool, man. I must admit. it's very well done.
It's very cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, it gives that whole family vibe to BJR, which is already there. But just to add it a bit more, no,
Yeah,
it's really cool.
because we needed more.
Yeah. But that's
Yeah,
pretty
it's
much
yeah.
the news. Oh, sorry.
You forgot one more livery.
How could I forget the big
It's
one?
the best one.
Cameron Waters. He'll be running a Ken Block tribute livery this weekend. Not only the livery, but he'll also be running number 43 on the car. And the car looks fantastic, and I cannot wait to see it in person on Sunday.
Yeah, I think it's it's a replica of one of the Gymkhana episodes that Ken made a couple of years back. I think in a Mustang as well. So, and he's sponsored by he was sponsored by Monster Energy, so it's perfect. And yeah, it's gonna look really cool on track.
Yeah, no, I'm very excited for it. I can't wait. And he is one of my picks for doing well this weekend if we're basing it off Gold Coast.
Yeah, they have
Very
really
similar.
good pace in Queensland. Yeah, yeah.
But before we get into who we think's going to do well and whatnot, let's get in with some track stats and info. So it's a 3.2 kilometer street circuit. We've got 500 kilometer weekend, so it's 278 lap races, which is 250k each. It's a soft tyre round again, as usual. 14 corners, and I'm very intrigued how these cars will go this weekend around turn 8. Given how sketchy the corner already is, it'll be very interesting to see how they go with very considerably less aero.
Yeah, it's going to be quite interesting. I think the driver's going to have to ditch their muscle memory for that corner. The rest of the track, I think it'll be fine. But yeah, turn 8 where the aerodynamics are very much required, and these cars have none of it. So yeah, I think that's where the action definitely will be. I think they'll catch a lot of drivers out. Probably in the practice sessions, I would say. So yeah, see what happens there.
Yeah, I'm very intrigued. They're probably, I don't know if they're like, I'm very intrigued to see how the lap times are compared to last year.
Yes.
I reckon it might be a little bit slower, but come Sunday they'll probably be quicker. Maybe, who knows? I guess we'll just have to wait and see. But plus weather,
they will
have
get
a
used to it.
factor. And
yeah, let's talk about that actually. I reckon
yeah, the
first
weather
before anything else.
It's very unpredictable. First off, so don't listen pretty much to anything we say, because literally this was completely different yesterday. All right. Yeah. So Thursday, tomorrow, or today, and when this uploads, 28 degrees with a 70% chance of rain. Then Friday we've got 24 with a 90% chance of rain. Saturday and Sunday both 21 degrees with 80 and 30% chance. But like I said, that might not even happen. Who knows? But at least we're in for a relatively cool weekend compared to last year.
Yeah.
Because last year was so
been
hot.
really. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Last year was 35. It wasn't as hot as I think 2019. That when Macaulay Jones had the spin, it was literally 40 degrees all 4 days.
Yeah, that was.
I was there. It was terrible. I had food poisoning then. It was very, very bad. I had heat stroke, food poisoning to finish the weekend off. It was, yeah, brutal. It was terrible.
Very brutal.
This year's more. What's what I'm looking for?
Forgiving.
Yeah, friendly, except for the rain.
Yeah.
I'm glad you're going on Sunday, not any other days, because otherwise you probably get drenched. But Adelaide has 4 seasons in one day, so
yeah, well,
it might rain, it might not. It might rain for 5 minutes, it might rain for a whole couple hours.
Well, today was
no one knows in Adelaide.
Today was very good. It was clear skies, nice and warm. It was perfect. So who knows? Honestly, I guess we'll have to find out.
Just bring your rain jackets and your tank tops.
Yeah, and your thongs. But let's get into the schedule while we're here before we get into the championship and stuff like that. Thursday, this will be on the screen probably as well. 12:10, Super 2 go out for practice 1. Then at 2:50, Super 2 go out for their second practice. 3:45 is practice 1 for Supercars. Friday at 11:50, we've got Super 2 going out for qualifying. 12:35, Supercars go out for practice 2. At 4:50, Super 2 go out for their second qualifying for the Sunday race. And then at 5:35, Supercars go out for qualifying for Saturday. And speaking of Saturday, we've got at 9:45, Supercars have their third and final practice of the year. 12:05, Supercars go out for a top 10 shootout. At 1:25, Super 2 have their race. And then at 2:50, race 27 of the Supercars series will be taking place. Sunday at 10:15, we've got second qualifying for Supercars. 12:05 is the top 10 shootout. 1:20 is Super 2 for their final race. And then at 2:45, it's Supercars' final race. And then the
I'm glad they brought the times forward. Because I'm glad they brought the times forward of the race, because usually they start later, and the problem is into turn 4 and turn 11, you get the direct sunlight, which I don't think will be a problem, because last year was really bad. They started the races way too late.
You remember the 2014 race with the Scott McLaughlin, that second sprint race they did? How you couldn't see anything heading into Wakefield, end of Wakefield Street.
No, it was really bad, and each year it's been a problem. But this year I think that they've resolved it by bringing them earlier, which is great.
So,
and the categories, you were going to say?
If all goes well, it should be done around just after 5 or something. So that'll be good. Categories. So we've got plenty of action this weekend on and off track. Of course, Robbie Williams will be performing on Sunday night. But in terms of on track, we've also got, in addition to Supercars Super 2, S5000. They're making a return to the street circuit. Carrera Cup as well. TCM, haven't seen them for a long time. They're finally making a return, to my eyes at least. I don't know what they've been doing, to be honest. V8 Super Utes. They weren't originally going to come. Of course, their championship ended in Gold Coast, but this is sort of like a one-off special event. And then GT Challenge will be making a return once again with Renee Gracie in the OnlyFans mobile. So that's what to expect.
I can't stand that category. Like, I love GT racing, but it's so boring, and it goes for too long. It goes for 45 minutes, that race, or an hour. It's ridiculous. And the last couple of years, there's been like 10 cars.
Yeah, it wasn't a lot.
No action at all.
Nah. So,
yeah.
Might be surprised. But we'll see how we go. But back to Supercars now. Basically, if you've been living under a rock, this is the championship decider. Given it's the last round, we finally, after a while, we've finally got a championship decider for the last round, which is cool. So,
how good?
This is based off Brody Kostecki, if he wins the title and how he can win the title. So basically, he can win on Saturday, but he needs to be have a 150-point gap ahead of Shane coming into Sunday to be safe for Sunday. But let's say if Gisbergen won Saturday and Sunday, then Brody, all he has to do is finish 8th or higher. So basically, he needs to stick with Gisbergen all weekend, basically. And he'll be safe.
Him. Yeah, so he can win on Saturday. He's 17 points away from the victory, so 18 will secure it. 18 extra points.
Yeah, so... Yeah.
And then he can do whatever he wants Sunday.
Yeah, he's really in a good position this weekend. He doesn't even have to race hard. He just has to stick with Gisbergen. He's racing one person this weekend, and that's it. And
yeah, he just needs to stay out of trouble, qualify well, stick behind Shane's bumper, and get out of the way of everyone else.
No risky behaviours, and I'm sure Barry Ryan will be in his ear making sure that doesn't happen. Because they've also got
It'll be nice to see if he can win it on Saturday. That way you can breathe.
Relax Sunday. Yeah, that'll be really cool.
Yeah.
But plus also the team's championship is on the line as well. Erebus is coming into the weekend ahead of Red Bull. they'll be looking to win that as well. So not only do they want a clean weekend, they want both drivers sticking with. Like, it's a similar situation. Like, they don't need to finish ahead of Red Bull in terms of race standings. They just need to be with them.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, they don't even really need to necessarily beat them. They just need to not get
They
smashed.
just need to be. Yeah, exactly. They just need to be smart this weekend.
And they've been smart all year, so I'm
exactly.
not worried about that.
And so I have complete faith that they can achieve it this weekend. And if they don't, though, it's still mega how much they've achieved this year. Given that 10 years ago, at this very track, they started off practice one with an engine fire in the Mercedes. So they've come a long way, that's for sure. So
it'll be cool for them to win it at the track where it all began.
Exactly. It's very cool, and I'm looking forward to seeing how this weekend goes, whether they win or not. I'm just hoping for a great show. But
actually, speaking of show, they have the RA18 jets. What are they called? The RAF jets.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Back.
Yeah.
Because they haven't been there for years.
Yeah, so that'll be cool.
Yeah, they're Air Force planes.
It's just it creates such a great atmosphere. Like, that's the whole thing with the Adelaide 500. Like, I've been to the Bend. That's all I've been to. But the atmosphere of Adelaide 500, in my opinion, is just unreal. Like, it's hard to beat. I compare everything to that now, especially going on a grid walk for a couple years. And when the national anthem went, and then the Jets went over at the end, it was just
it's the best part.
It's so cool.
It's the best part, and it really misses that. It's kind of like what they do at Bathurst. They have that there.
It's such a spectacle. They really put on a show.
I really do think that I haven't been to every race, I must admit, but the big ones, been to the Grand Prix, Bathurst I haven't been to yet, but I really want to. I've been to Gold Coast now, and Adelaide. Adelaide is the best.
Adelaide is
hands down. It's got the most to do, most to see, and it's the longest event too. Yeah. That's the best part.
Yeah, it's one of the only 4-day weekends, besides from technically Melbourne and Bathurst.
Bathurst, yeah, they're the two. Melbourne, no, not as good. Trust me, not as good. The atmosphere is so much better at Adelaide, and there's not a giant lake in the middle of it to get around.
Easily accessible.
Easy accessible. Just bring shoes because it's very muddy.
Oh yeah.
But apart from that, it's killer. Yeah. It's really good. I'm very upset that I'm missing it, but yeah, I'll watch it from afar.
We'll have to go next year for sure. But before we wrap this up, our news for us is that instead of a normal weekend review that we usually do, we're going to actually be making a live stream version. So if you want to join our live and ask a question, we'll be happily to answer and whatnot, and we'll see how things go. We're thinking of doing it next Tuesday, which is 28th, I think. 27th, 20.
Yeah, 28th.
28th, yeah. Potentially the 28th of November. Not sure what time yet and stuff like that. I'm sure we'll be posting details like that regarding that closer to the time. But that's something we're thinking. We did put a poll up a couple of days ago, and we did get some positive results. So it looks like we're going to be trialing and airing it. So we'll see how we go. But
yes.
If you're a Spotify listener, that will be on Spotify as well. So don't worry, you won't be missing out. But that's all from us. Is there any final thoughts before we wrap this up?
Yeah, we've got to do some predictions.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. You go.
Prediction time.
Sorry.
Before we go, prediction.
Go for it.
I think that we could, obviously if... I think the wet weather is going to play a major factor, which is why I'm going to say I think Cam Waters will grab a win. Wet. Or Shane. Like we kind of said off, Shane hasn't had a really great history in the last couple of years at Adelaide. Especially last year, it was diabolical.
Oh, it was brutal last year.
It was quite entertaining, but yeah, not great for him. But yeah, I think in the wet he'll definitely prevail. He's won there a few times in the wet, and I still think that Matt Payne could be a dark horse, probably on Sunday. But it's all about dry running for him, I think. I don't think in the way he'll be too great. But we'll see. But yeah, Cam Waters is definitely my favorite to win at least one race. I'm not going to call both, but at least one.
I reckon it's going to be very similar to Gold Coast, like I said. Very similar track. So I reckon Cam Waters will definitely be up there. Grove Racing will be up there. But I've got my money on Cam Waters and maybe Rock Feeney. Of course, this time last year he did very well and won his first race. So yeah, no, I'm excited to see how he goes. But like you said, if it does rain, definitely look out for Chaz or Shane even, as he is very good in the wet. So it's going to be very interesting. I don't think. I think a lot of people have a chance to do well this weekend. That's for sure.
Yeah, and with the wet weather, it does spice things up a little bit as well.
And who knows, this weather might not even happen till after the event, sort of thing. Like,
yeah,
it might rain at
say
night.
what time it's going to rain.
Exactly.
Or in the morning. Either way, though, it should still be damp.
But like not
at some point.
Horrible enough to ruin.
No, and with all the support categories, it should wipe away the water. If it's not raining at the time, it should wipe it all away pretty quick.
So it all really depends on how the weather is. So,
but we both think that Brody will bring it home.
I reckon. I have my money on Erebus. They are really. See, they both have done very well this year, respectively. But it's like a little tiny team against, like David Goliath sort of thing. Pretty much.
I just think that they've done enough to win it, and the gap's big enough. It's not like it's a couple points. It's like pretty much half the weekend.
They just got to be smart, and be safe.
They just got to play the cards right and just be smart. Really, that's all it is, and not get in trouble. That's it.
Yeah, and they really deserve it. So I'm looking forward to it, and I'm hoping that they can achieve it. Because it's also Will's last race for them as well. So before switching teams,
before he goes to the rival.
So see how that goes next year. Brody versus Brown, maybe. Who knows? We'll find out. That'll be cool. But that's now all from us. Do check out our socials here and here. Yeah. And they're also in the show notes and description as well for you audio listeners. First off, also thanks Alex for hosting the F1 debrief for Vegas. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to make it, so he had to run it solo. So stay tuned for that. That should come on Friday. And also stay tuned for our Abu Dhabi Grand Prix review, because that's also happening this weekend as well. So big weekend of racing to come.
Absolutely. Get keen.
That's it. But,
and the last weekend. It's a bit sad, but yeah, it'll be good.
We're going to have to think of new content for a while. But I'm sure we'll work it out.
For sure.
That's all from us. If you liked it, subscribe, follow, like, all that stuff. Do check out our social media below. We're very active on TikTok and Instagram. We'll catch you next week for the weekend review. Bye for now.